Three ways to present your ideas. Una última vez. Hey. Three ways to present your ideas.
Please introduce yourself.
Ugly. My name is Terry, and the three ways are ugly, average, and way cool.
Fantastic, Eric. Eric, what's the definition of the ugly way to present your ideas?
It's like it's I don't know. It's like you do it like fast.
Fast, not carefully, great. And what's the definition of a way cool way to present your ideas?
A way cool, you do it good. You put colors, good cartoons, and that.
Great, perfect, Eric. All right, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you, Eric. Good job. All right, guys. So we're going to guide you through the history of time machines, which is very similar to what we did in the very first class when we talked about the different kinds of clocks. So here's the problem, here's the mission, and remember we talked about the sundial. I think you did an experiment in your at your school on sundials. You built your own sundial. Then we talked about water clocks. Water clocks came in the scene a few hundred years after the sundial.
Okay, John, sorry. We had a cut right now. Could you start again from the part of the sundial, please?
Okay. So we're going to go review the history of time machines and then document in your lab book a timeline that shows when different clocks were invented. So we start with the sundial, which there are first records of the sundial as early as 2,000 years BC. Who knows what BC means? 2000 BC. Very good. So how many years ago from today did the sundial first come on the scene?
We are in 2013. How many years? If we are here, here's 0. 4,000 and 13.
Very good. You guys are smart mathematicians. The next clock that came on the scene was the water clock. This is a clock that measures time by basically monitoring how many drops of water. So it drips water and it measures those drips, and that controls the clock. That happened about 500 years after the sundial. And then the next interesting clock that came on the scene is the sand clock. They sometimes call the hourglass. And these machines were used on ancient ships to measure time when you're out to sea. And they appeared around 300 AD. So about 2,000 years after the sundial. The next invention in clocks that was notable was the pendulum clock. And the pendulum clock was one of the first clocks. And it appeared about 600 AD. And then there was the electric clock, which came around 1800. And then there was the atomic clock, which came around 1955. The atomic clock being a really accurate clock. So, in summary, the history of time the history of clocks is represented by this timeline. One mark at 2000 BC for the sundial, another mark about 500 years later, another mark about 1,200 years later, and then several marks recently in history. And this timeline is typically a graph in many scientific experiments that records events as they happen in time. So we're going to practice creating a timeline in your lab book. Timeline graph, critical elements in many scientific presentations. So we're going to guide you through creating this slide step by step. The first thing you want to do is you start from open up your PowerPoint lab book.
Okay, PowerPoint, so ready?
And right after your lab book cover, we're going to right click on this object in the left-hand column.
The left side of your screen, see the visual, right click.
Right click and then create new slide.
New slide, nobody will see that.
Now you'll notice on this new slide there's a bunch of check marks. We want to work with a blank slide, a nice clean slide. So the way we get a blank slide is we right click on the background, and we go to layout, and then we go to blank slide. And now we have a true blank slide.
Are we ready? Are we ready there?
When everyone has a blank slide, raise your hand and we'll go to the next step.
Okay.
Ready?
You're ready, John.
Okay. So if you click on the blank slide and then you want to add a title, so you're going to go to insert. This is something you've done before in your lab book. Insert word art. Pick a nice text and then type in history of time machine. And then we'll position this at the very top of our screen by grabbing the corner of it and dragging it to the top. So right now your slide should look like this.
Okay, John, we're ready.
Ready. So the next step is to add a block of text that describes all of the clock inventions. So to do that, we're going to go to Insert. We're going to choose the text box. And then we're going to click right about here, start our text box. And the first thing we're going to write is BC, before Christ. And what was the clock that was invented in 2000 BC? Who remembers what clock was invented in 2000 BC? Sundial. All right. So once you have this, click Insert on the text box. Click right below below History and start your text block. First thing you want to type is 2000 BC. The sundial was invented.
Now, which one comes next?
Who remembers the next clock that was invented? Who remembers the next clock that was invented?
1500 BC. 1500 BC.
Right, water clock. So after you type this text box, you just press Enter to go to the next line. Or press Return, Enter. Okay, and then after water clock, add a couple of enters. So you move down around the middle of the page. Maybe I've hit enter 4 times. And who remembers the next clock that was invented? 300 AD. These were clocks that were used on ships. Ancient ships in ancient times. That was sand clock or hourglass.
Hourglass. The one with hourglass.
Remember to enter a few times after 1500 BC so that we can represent the space of time. What we're doing here is creating a timeline or a time graph. Hi. Okay, we're going to get a couple of enters, maybe 4 more enters, and then you can type the next clock in our history of time machines. Came around 1660 roughly, and that was the pendulum clock. And after the pendulum clock, in 1840, roughly, came the first electric clock. And then after the electric clock, in about 1955, came the atomic clock. And then today, in 2013, after the death of Christ, came or is coming Colegio Las Hayas Cuckoo-Clock. Very important invention. So that's basically the timeline of thought, the history of thought. And to represent that in a visual way or in a graphic way, actually, let me stop here, Lula, Mariana, and Carlos. When everyone has the text box completed, then we'll show how to create the graph.
Okay, they are almost done, Jen.
Okay. Hey there.
Hello.
Hello there. Who are you? All set?
Hello.
Oh. Alrighty. The last step in this timeline graph is to create a line.
Let me call their attention.
Hello.
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 Hey. We have one more step to create to finish this entry into your lab book.
Okay, we're ready now.
Okay, great. So the last step is to create the timeline. Let me just show you what it looks like, and then I'll show you how to create it. So right now, we're going to create this part of our graph. And here's how you do that. We want to insert a line, so we're going to go to Insert, Shape, click on the line, and then draw a line from the top all the way to the bottom. All right. Keep that line to go all the way to the bottom. And if you black, you can right-click on the line, and you can do format shape. You can do line color, and then just adjust the color to black. Now you have a nice black line. Shall we stop there? Insert. I'll do it again, right next to it. Insert. Go to shape. Click on line. I'll do one right next to the first one. Drag it all the way down to the bottom, click and then drag. And then right click on it to make sure it's black.
The one that is like me. The one that is like me.
Insert, shape, and then click on line right at the top. You can click on this line right here. Once you've created that vertical line, then in this timeline graph, you want to create several horizontal lines that mark when the clocks were invented. So we'll go again to Insert, Shape, click on Line, and put a small little line right next to the sundial. And you can right-click on that line to turn it black. And then you want to add another line, Insert, Shape, Line, and put another line right around when the water clock was invented. You can right-click on that line again and turn it black by clicking on the pencil. And then we want to insert another line by the stand clock or the arrow bar. Insert, shape, line, straight line, and then draw a short little line right next to stand clock 200 AD. Right click on that, color. Now you're starting to see a graphic representation of when all of these clocks were invented. So we'll continue to add lines next to when the clocks were invented, so we have a complete graph or timeline of the history of clocks. We'll enter another line for the pendulum clock. We'll enter another line for the electric clock. Still a further line for the atomic clock, the really accurate clock. And then finally we want to add a line that documents when the famous Hayas super clock was invented, 2013. I'm going to change all of these lines at once from green to black, drawing a rectangle around them. You can see they're selected. Then I right-click on one of the lines, all the black at once. So the trick now is to create a visual graphic of the history of thought. a visual graphic in a timeline. If I want to make these thin lines a little thicker, I can draw a rectangle around all the lines, and you'll see they'll all be selected. Then if I right-click on that and go to Format Object, I can change the line width. I can make the line width a lot more visible. So there you have it. And what's interesting about this timeline is that you can see that the evolution of inventions of clock happened very slowly until around the Industrial Revolution, when all of a sudden inventions happened very, very quickly, in rapid succession. So it's a case that we're living in a really exciting time because there are lots and lots of new inventions in modern times. So your whole graph should look something like this. The graphical representation of the history of time machines.
Okay, are we ready now?
Okay, guys, as soon as you finish this lab book page, Alexia is going to guide you through programming your computer cuckoo clock so that your cuckoo comes alive every 10 seconds.
Okay. So, raise your hand to your left. Yes. This one's ready. That one's ready. Are you ready? Okay, okay, so we're missing two or three computers. They are almost done.
Almost ready? We can go on, Mariana. They're not all finished. In the interest of getting some of this into scratch.
Okay, pay attention again. My hand is up. Everybody listen to what other people say. Be inside. Pay attention. Be ready. Listen for instructions.
So, Alexia, I just had this call. If you'd like to start at the top and dive into, make sure first of all that the cuckoo so it animates. Okay, guys, Alexia is going to guide you through the rest of the workshop. And in this part of the workshop, we're going to show you how to evolve your Scratch program. Make the cuckoo bird come alive every 10 seconds. Okay, Alexia, let's get going. You have the ball.
Okay.
Okay, Lou, I'm going to turn your microphone on here, Alexia, a little better. You can just turn your microphone on if you want to get our attention. Okay, Alexia, go ahead.
Okay, so our goal for this is to create a timer. We want the timer to be counting the seconds and to change the minutes and change the hours. We want to know what variables to use. So in this case, we're going to use minutes and hours. And we're going to be counting in seconds because we don't want to wait a whole hour to see if our project is going to work, right? We can just wait a minute or 10 seconds maybe and see if our cuckoo bird shows up. So that's why we're only going to use seconds instead of, and we will treat them as minutes. Then how is our timer going to work? So after every 10 minutes, we're going to change the hour by 1. And the hour is going to increase. And what do we want to happen right after the hour comes in? Then we want our cuckoo bird to come to life. And in order for it to come to life, we have to send a message to our other script to let it know that it has been 1 hour. Then we have to reset the minutes to 0 so that it can start counting again for the next hour and then change again. And in the very beginning, before we start, we want our cuckoo bird to be hidden. The minutes should start at 0, and the timer should start when you click the green flag. So if we open our Scratch project, here's our Scratch, and we know what variables to use. We're going to use minutes and hours. So first we're going to create that. So we go here to Control, look for the variables, click Make a Variable, and type in the name. So the first one is hours. Press OK, and it creates all of these possible actions that you can do with hours. Then we're going to create a second variable, and we want minutes, remember? So go again to Make a Variable, type in minutes, and press OK. And now we have our 2 variables that we're going to be using. This is what it should look like once you have that. And after we create our variables, we can start our new script. And remember what I said in the beginning, the timer should start when you click the green flag. So if you go to Control, you can find this button that says when the green flag is clicked, do something. And we're going to tell it what to do as soon as the green flag is clicked. What did we say? We want our cuckoo bird to be hidden and the minutes to start at 0 so that it can start counting. And there's the action in looks. There's this command, hide. And this is the one that hides the cuckoo bird when it starts. Because we don't want the cuckoo bird to come in until the hour changes. And we also want our minutes to start at 0. So if we go to variables, we can find this command right here that sets a variable to 0. And in this case, we don't want hours, we want minutes to be in 0. Now if we go to the next step, we want the timer to constantly be running. So we want it to count 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and we want it to do that forever. And there's actually another command called forever that does exactly that. If we go to Control again, find the forever command, and we want to say count the second forever. So after every second, it's going to change our minutes by 1. And remember, we're using minutes instead of hours. No, we're using minutes instead of seconds because we don't want to wait so long. And, okay, there's that second part of the script. So if we click it, if you look at this, oops, how do I make this too? We connect them here and we click this. You can see that it starts counting. Ay, ay, ay. You can barely see on there, but the minutes start changing, and so now it's counting the seconds forever.
Great, Alexia. How about, guys, if you all open up your Scratch project, and
make a variable and now create another one that says hours. Ahora, click in the yellow. Yellow where we have control. We're following Alexa's step. Yellow control. In the yellow where you have control. Go control. The one that says, when the green flag clicks, la que tiene la banderita, when click. Abajo, abajo, vamos con el otro. We go to the purple one. Purple one. Purple one. And it says honey. Okay? Purple honey. 5, 2, 3, purple. Okay, after that, as they said, we are going to set the variable. Both the orange one again. Both the orange one again. And we're going to set variable. Set. Both the orange one. And change it to minutes. We have to say set minutes. And then, here is what we need to do. Forever, both the control bars. Again, yellow control, and as we want to repeat, the next forever. Forever, Forever now. Forever. On your chest. On your chest. Forever. So we are going to wait 1 second. Indicate go. Wait 1 second. Wait on inside the rubber. Wait 1 second. Yes. Inside the rubber. Wait 1 second. Wait 1 second. And then you've got both the orange part. Where it says, change, go to the orange again and change minutes. Change minutes by 1. Yes. Change minutes by 1. Can you hear us? Okay. A ver, todos ahí. We're going to stop there. And I think it goes to you. Next class, because the two variables that you have there, las dos variables que crearon, es para crear un tipo de lo que va a cambiar. Okay. That's how we are going right now. We are doing our knot. How are we going to change it? Okay? Now, everybody, I want file, save. Hay un pequeño disquete. ¿Cuál es el disquete ahí? Junto a los cambios de lenguaje. There is a square there. No lo quieres. Don't go and crash.
Hey, John, are you there?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
Okay. Perfect. We're back.
Okay.
We're back.
Fantastic. So, Alexia, can you show when we broadcast
The hour.
our? We want to send a message that tells the clock, that tells the cat to come alive.
Then we stop
Sorry, say again.
minutes by 1. That we stop. Everybody has finished up to where it says change minutes by 1.
Okay.
And I think we should stop there.
Perfect. Okay.
It's already
All
time
right.
is over. So
All right.
okay.
Bye, guys.
So we will.
Okay, everybody say, thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
And Alexia.
You're welcome. Good job, everybody.
Thank you, John. Thank you. Thank you, John.
Okay.
Now let's sign up.
Que pase una buena semana. Una buena semana. Y vaya con los padres de Cucu.
Time to go. Time to go. The other class is coming. The other class is coming. Time to go. And we got quiz to do. And sometimes it's practice. So come on.
Goodbye.
Bye, Alexia.
Adios, Liliana. Adios, Lula. Thank you, Carlos.
Bye, Alexa.
Time to go. Yeah.
Bye. Bye, Alexia.
Bye.
Wait.
Bye, John.
Bye. Have a good week. Study hard. Bye.
Bye, John.
Goodbye. Have a good week.
Bye.
Thank you, Mariana, for helping us.
See you next week. Bye, bye, John. And bye, bye, Alexia. Bye, Alexia. Adios.
I think you have some fans, Alexia. Okay, fantastic.